Hello, welcome. My name is Sam Gonsalves. I'm the digital engagement editor for the Ferret, and I'm here with Karin Goodwin. Hello, Karin.
Hi, Sam. How you doing?
Karin's one of the journalists at the Ferret. We're live just now to talk to you about From the Margins, which is the series that we've been publishing all through the week. We're going to have a quick live just now. We're going to ask Karin a couple of questions about the process of putting the series together. And then we're going to hop on to the website. So if you're a member of the Ferret, you get to watch the main bulk of this interview. But if you're not a member of the Ferret, you can just watch the introduction here with us. If you'd like to become a member of the Ferret, though, you can go to theferret.com/subscribe and join us for £5 a month. You can become a member of the Ferret and get access to all kinds of great content like this conversation I'm about to have with Karin. So let's get things started. Can you tell me a little bit about what the margins is what From the Margins is to someone who hasn't heard about it, hasn't read anything yet?
Sure. So From the Margins is a series that we did to look at the overlapping issues of things like addiction, homelessness, trauma, the care system, which quite often in the Ferret we report as if they're all separate, but in fact, often they spiral into each other. And we wanted to really look at kind of the way that people could fall through the gaps in that kind of process. Yeah. And we wanted to do it a little bit differently. So we worked with a team of citizen journalists who all had direct experience of the issues and co-produced this series with them. And were very much led by their expertise in these areas.
Yeah, that's really interesting. There's so much of that I want to get more into, but this process of getting together with the citizen journalists and getting them ready with the right skills to kind of approach these topics. What was that like? What was the kind of setting up process like?
I mean, it was great. I've done a little bit of this kind of work in lots of different contexts before, and I just really love it. I find it really powerful to see people kind of realize that journalism is just storytelling, right? And we all tell stories, and that there's lots of different ways to be involved. So when we came together, the first thing we did was talk about their own experiences of the media, and a lot of the people that were involved in this project. We started off with 6 journalists, or citizen journalists, and they didn't really consume media. They didn't watch the BBC or really read kind of stories very much. So the first thing we did was get people reading and watching lots of stuff so that they could critique it, and they did. And then we did some training, and we did kind of 5 sessions of kind of things like just journalism 101, talking about all of those kind of essentials around fairness and balance, but also looking at things like freedom of information requests and how to make those, and what information was publicly available, how to get their own information through subject access requests, how to look for sources and to look for verified sources and fact check and research, how to do interviews. And then the next thing we did really was to go out and use some of those skills, put them into practice. And we held a series of what we called conversation cafes, which was really to get to speak directly to people who were still living, I suppose, and what could be called the margins, people with living experiences as opposed to kind of formerly, having been through it, who could tell us about what the situation was like right now for them. And so, we spoke to dozens of people in that process, and those were all led by the citizen journalists who had thought about the questions that they wanted to ask about what was happening, about what would make things better was a really critical issue for them. And from there, we went on to make a half-hour BBC doc and do a series on the Ferret. So it's been quite a journey.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting you talked at the start about them critiquing some of that media that they were watching and consuming. It can easily be read that the Ferret went and like gave them certain skills or taught them certain skills, but it was a very much reciprocal situation, right, where they were also telling us what worked or didn't work about certain ways that these issues are covered. Is that right?
Absolutely. And I think that for me is the thing that's not said enough about citizen journalism. This is not about journalists just going in and giving other people skills. This is, as you say, absolutely a two-way process of journalists actually learning what we're not getting right, and how to hand over a little bit more of the power and also to end up with stories that work better for everybody, that are more impactful, that are more insightful. So there's this really great two-way learning process that I think is really exciting and challenging, but yeah, keeps you feeling fresh. And it's always been a really important part of my journalistic practice to do that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool. So in this process, I mean, it spent quite a few months, right? It was over a long period of time. And then there were lots of different parts to it. Is there one experience, one day or one event that really stands out to you that you feel like you're going to remember for a long time to come?
I mean, there's so many.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to pinpoint one. I suppose there was the day, Sam, when you came in and we decided that, you know, we'd been doing some workshops and we decided that we'd take a bit of a different tack that day and tell a little bit about our own experiences in the room. And I think that was an incredibly powerful experience, really humbling, I think, for both of us to sit and to sit and listen to people talking about just incredible things they had gone through. Michelle talking about the silence in the house after her children went into care. Peter talking about mental health crisis. Tam talking about, you know, what that was like to be on the streets. So that off-camera sort of stuff was really powerful. Sometimes when we went to conversation cafes, people would share incredibly insightful things with us that would just make the room go quiet. And just kind of, you know, create a pause. I think, you know, you saw some of the really powerful stuff, I think, on the documentary for anybody that's watched it, the BBC Disclosure from the Margins, which is still available on the iPlayer for a good few months to come. Some of the things for me that really stuck out, I suppose, were when we went to visit the women in Dundee, and there was incredible power in the stories that those women shared. A lot of the time, I think we don't hear enough from women and girls, and so that felt really powerful to me to hear them talking about not getting the support they need and actually should be getting under Scottish Government policy, and the devastating impacts on their families that had, but also the warmth and support that came from that group, I think was really powerful. You know, how they all got around each other and understood each other, and there was no judgment at all in that room, which was just incredible to witness. And you know, the young people in East Dunbartonshire talking about, you know, having parents in addiction, and again how they all got around each other and supported each other. So I think that actually the most powerful thing altogether was seeing that when people are in crisis, is the isolation that's almost the most painful thing. You know, you watch Michael calling to see if there's any beds at the crisis centre when he's in a, you know, crisis, and you know, he feels very isolated. And then the opposite of that for me is that connection and those groups that can get round and support and care and love for each other. You know, we wanted to talk about in the process of making this series the importance of love. So that I guess is the most powerful summary of things for me.
And it was lovely on Monday night. The doc came out on BBC, and it was, I went over to your place, and Tam and Michelle, who are the two of the citizen journalists, were there watching it, and to see just everyone kind of watching it and their phones blowing up because everyone was texting them, and it was just lovely. Like it's so nice to see this journey, and lovely stuff. So I want to ask you a little bit more about the ethics and some of those questions that arise when you're doing this kind of investigation. But we are going to stop the live now, and we are going to move into the Ferret website. So if you're watching this on social media, there will be a link somewhere around the description of this video, and you can click on that link, go to the Ferret website and watch there. This is going to be a members only thing, so you can either sign up to be a member, or you can just go to the Ferret website and read some of the stuff that we have out so far. We have a kind of week's worth of material from the margins, all sorts of interesting content. Our newsletter as well was a kind of specially dedicated to it this week. So we'll either see you on the other end of this video, or please enjoy the website and enjoy all of that. And thank you for coming.